Hello, everyone. My name is Jaden Williams. Welcome back to the Jaden Williams podcast. We're back, baby. We got a YouTube Golden Black, a second one for the live gaming channel. So the podcast has had some upgrades. I'm excited to say we've evolved over the past year plus. Today we're going to be having a conversation with James Leonidas. He is a comedy sketch creator I've been following for a couple years now. He's actually one of the guests I had in mind when I first started this podcast. He was like one of the people I wanted to have a conversation with because his comedy skits are just freaking hilarious. I love his content. I love his style of writing, his comedic pacing. I want to talk all about it. Just his college humor, even academia. I went to school. And just be able to really talk about how he strategizes, his growth in content creating, his personal life, just a wide range of topics. So yeah, I'm beyond excited, like I said. But if you want to support us, please follow us on Spotify. Check out the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Amazon Podcasts. And let's get right into the episode. James Leonidas Klusaritz, how you doing, man?
Doing lovely. How are you, Jaden Williams?
I'm doing good. Thank you for coming onto the podcast. I'm a huge fan of yours. We've been in conversation for like a couple years now, I'd say. We've had a conversation before on like Discord and stuff, but I've been following you for a little bit now. I've seen you like evolve and innovate. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have like a little dialogue and just talk about a bunch of stuff about your life, learn about you. But yeah, man, I'm a huge fan.
I'm a huge fan too, man. Ever since you reached out, I think you DM me on TikTok it has to be like a year and a half ago. And I was sort of new to the game. I wasn't keyed into a lot of like creators in the niche. And I clicked on your profile and I just like watched. Remember, I was on my bed, like every single one of your videos was just like blown away. And from
I
that moment, I was like,
appreciate it.
that's the guy I need to get to his level.
Oh, that means a
Still
lot.
not there, but yeah, you're good. Like for me, you're a good like benchmark of like where I'm trying to go.
Well, I
So it's
appreciate
awesome
that.
to talk to you too.
Yeah, I mean, your quality has gone off the charts over the past year, man. I've seen you like really, you put a lot of work into like how many characters you have on screen, and I even try to like sometimes I stray away from that because I know like the workload that's going to come with it.
Yeah,
But you're clearly, you're extremely. You show a lot of effort and passion in your work, and I think that's something like I strive for, and I always hope to make that obvious on the screen. I definitely want to dive into like a lot of topics and like kind of just talk about content creating probably first, and like maybe even talk about academia and just life and all sorts of things and just this industry, this culture. But the easiest to start with is like what made you kind of enter this content creating world? Where did that passion all come from?
yeah. I mean, it's definitely a passion, and it was born out of kind of a random process of trying to like find myself after college. So I graduated in May 2023, and I'd like 4 months during that summer before I started my full time job afterwards. I was in a weird place in my life, and I had that downtime before the job, so I just started like doing all sorts of things to find something to become passionate about. So I was like reading a ton of books, started writing a blog, just trying to read and write about anything I found interesting, really with the goal of just trying to learn. And through that process, I started writing about like networks, which took me to writing about social media, which took me to just experimenting with posting TikToks on social media because I thought that would make for a good blog post.
Hmm.
So that's how it started. I got the idea to write a blog about creating TikToks. And then in that, I started creating TikToks. It didn't actually go well. The goal of the blog was like, I thought the title would be how to get 100,000 views on TikTok. And the blog was
Hmm.
supposed to be about me learning how to do that.
Yeah.
And I like spent a few weeks trying to do it, like posting content from all these different accounts. Didn't go well, but I actually, in that process, started liking making content. So I continued it even after the blog. And I think like the first video I ever posted that did well was a poker comedy skit. And then from there, I just started making a bunch of comedy skits. After that one got like 20K views, which to me at the time was amazing. So
Yeah, no, I mean that is amazing. I remember like yeah, definitely like several like 10,000 view range. I was getting I think my 10th video like this was like maybe 5 years ago or something like that. I think my start was like 2020 when I started to finally have like that first explosion. I got like a 400K view video, and before that it was like in the 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 view
Mhm.
range. So yeah, I mean that's freaking that it's actually really fascinating to like hear that it kind of stemmed from like almost like wanting to learn about it first instead of like, because there's a lot of creators that are like,
Mhm.
oh, I've been doing this my entire life and I just love it and
Mhm.
it's just my that's what I
Mhm.
do, and that's definitely kind of like where I come from. But my goodness,
Mhm.
I mean, you have a very, for someone like that you're saying that you have a lot of, you've had a lot of success, and there's a large workload that goes into your videos. And so I guess
Yeah.
like where does that come from? Like where is this like this effort, this videography, this like comedic pacing, where is all that originating from outside of even just like the content creating social media realm?
You mean like the drive to like
Yeah,
why
like
do I
why,
put all of that effort
where's
in?
the entertainment value that you're like so good at? Like where is that stemming from? Like is it from like is there like comedians that you love? Is it like
Uh-huh.
movies? Yeah.
I think it's just from sort of like an obsession I developed after I started getting views. I kind of got hooked to it, and then from that moment on, I was like, I want to get better, get better,
Yeah.
get better. So every like facet of the creative process, making video, I just put a lot of effort into it because I was hooked. If you
Hmm.
go back to like my videos now are like good, I would say. If you go back to like my first videos, they're like objectively trash. So I think it's just in that process of constantly putting in a lot of effort, you start to get better.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, it's just like from that moment, man. When I first got 20K views, it just kind of like opened my world and unlocked something where I was like, I just like this is what I want to do. I'm just going to do it and try to get as good as I can.
No, that's freaking awesome. Yeah, so you really just like fell in love with it, like really in that route, like instead of like, because for me, I know for like growing up, like I watched a lot of movies and stuff like that, and I really
Hmm.
built this obsession for like making these little short films or whatever you
Hmm.
want to call it. I mean, that's how I view it, and that's how I view your work as well, as like these little short films, like these little movies. It's so funny because like something that I've like I haven't dealt with a lot is like this like mature humor of like college humor and this like much more like serious and mature comedy that I think you do like so well. It's the most like what made me like laugh and like become a huge fan of yours the most was like your college humor, like of like being in front of a like studying in class and like you look down, you look back up and the board is like filled to the brim with like
Yeah,
markings and all that, and you're like, what on earth did I just miss? And it's just stuff like
yeah.
that that like made me like love your brand and everything. Did those videos just stem from experiences in college and all that? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I would say if I were to describe my brand in like one sentence, it's satirizing like relatable experiences or like relatable painful experiences is kind of
Yeah.
my focus for videos. I like making fun of things that have brought me pain.
Yeah.
And I think just like sort of my personality and the facial
Mm-hmm.
expressions I'm able to play in the characters lend themselves to that type of comedy because like I don't know, I think I do like a solid job of representing pain
Yeah.
through my characters.
That's hilarious. No, and it's so funny because like that's the kind of similar approach I do. Like anytime I've done like videos where like I'm in a drive-through or something like that, and it's literally just an experience I had like in a drive-through struggling to
Mm-hmm.
talk to the person or something. Like the machine, you can barely understand what they're
Yeah.
saying or something like that. My question for you is like, and I really haven't asked a lot of other creators this, but it's becoming an ongoing thing right now in the industry with like all these social medias. I wanted to kind of ask your input, like for the audience and people, trying to become content creators or people learning about social media, like not even just what has worked for you, but what social medias have you felt like have catered to you more as a creator, and or like it's almost like which one has been better for you as a creator versus which one has been better for like almost like an audience viewer. So like you as the audience versus you as a creator, which ones do you prefer, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and so on?
I would say TikTok for both. Because I find as a creator on TikTok, there's a higher correlation between I just made something like that I think is really funny and good and to its performance. Whereas on Instagram, for example, there's a lot of other factors that influence, I think, whether it's going to do or good or not, aside from its like raw comedic potential, namely just like its shareability, right? Since Instagram is sort of like more of a, it's like social media first before it
Yeah.
is a content
Yeah.
based platform. So I think to post videos that do well in there, you have to consider like the topic of your video and how shareable it is. Essentially,
Hmm.
is someone going to like DM it to their friends? It's still a factor on TikTok for sure, but I find on Instagram that's more of a, that's like more of a consideration. And then from the
Hmm.
consumption side, I just find that TikTok's better at
Yeah.
like getting to the core of like what content I'm interested in
Uh-huh.
and just like showing me that. So I don't know a whole lot about YouTube, to be
Hmm.
honest. That's the one. When I first started, it was TikTok. And then a month of doing TikTok, I started posting my content on Instagram. And for a long time, it was just both of those.
Hmm.
And then from talking to people like you, actually, I think when we had our first conversation like a year and a
Yeah.
half ago, you were like, bro, how are you not on YouTube right now? You got to get on YouTube. It's Google. It's me. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're like freaking out. You're freaking me out. I'm like, I got to start posting on YouTube. And then I tried for a long time, just posted my stuff there, 0 views, 0 views, 0 views.
Hmm.
And when you compare that to how I was doing on the other platforms, I was like, kind of got, I don't know, just I lost like interest in it because I was doing well in the others. So
Hmm.
I kind of let the YouTube thing slide. But now I'm back trying to.
And what does that like, and this, this will be really insightful. What does that mean when you say that, like you lose interest? Cause like, I know, like, does that mean you're putting more resources towards the analytics of like TikTok and Instagram or whatever versus YouTube? Like what do you mean by like, I kind of lost interest when for a lot of people just on the outside, it's like, oh, you're just posting the same video across like all these
Mhm.
socials. Like, what does that mean to you?
I think it's like an irrational tendency that would be very specific to me, my personality. Like I don't know. I don't like posting. It's just irrational. Like yes, it is that easy to literally just repost it onto YouTube. But I lost motivation every time posting it and seeing like
Mm-hmm.
0 views. That I would just stop. But like any other normal person would just takes 2 seconds upload it. But
Yeah,
I couldn't. I for a long time I wasn't consistently just re-uploading.
sure.
So.
Yeah, no, I was very much there. This was like before YouTube Shorts. I was like posting, it's like it's a crazy feeling to like get like this was like, 20, I don't know when YouTube like Shorts came out, like 2023 maybe or something like that around there. Like I was posting on YouTube, maybe I had around 10,000 followers and it was just getting like, under 1,000 views. Like a big spike was maybe 4,000 views. And then you're getting TikToks that are like, 2.5 million. And you're like, what am I doing? And I remember when like
Mhm.
YouTube Shorts came out, I don't know what it was, but like the algorithm, like just like got kickstarted for my channel and like within like a month I had maybe 100K followers. And that's what I was going to say about TikTok is it's a very, and maybe you'll agree with me, that like it's a very volatile market. It's like you can have a video that like, and it's like they're very incentivizing. When a video's good, like they blow it up. But when a video
Yes.
like is like a little bit underperforming, that thing gets like squashed instantly. You're like, oh my gosh,
It's
yeah, I just went from 10 million views to
yeah.
150.
I think it's just extremely meritocratic, which is good and bad, right? If you're like a new creator who it could be a really good thing, right? Because you don't
Mm-hmm.
need a very large audience to get that one video that
Yeah.
blows up. But if you're like an established creator, it's very common for you to have tons of followers, but slowly your videos get less
Yeah. Yeah.
views because they're kind of judged on an individual basis. So
Yeah.
if it doesn't hit the metrics, TikTok doesn't care as much if you have, millions of followers or
Mm-hmm.
not. Whereas on Instagram, it's like there is some guarantee that your videos will be showed to at least a decent percentage of your existing followers. And then depending on the like that engagement, then it may blow up into
Mm-hmm.
like an audience outside of that. But TikTok is, if I post crap, just like straight crap, it will get 1,000 views despite
Yeah.
having like a lot of followers at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
it's certainly yeah, and that's what I guess made it like the best algorithm out there is because it very much caters to the audience a whole lot. And then yeah, if you make a really good video, it will just blow up beyond belief. I've had plenty of videos that perform a lot better on TikTok than on YouTube. I would say for me, like personally, my YouTube averagely performs a lot better. Like if I'm getting
Mhm.
an average of 2.5 million on YouTube, my TikTok is just all over the place, but when I get a video that gets 10 million views, it gets, 20 on TikTok.
Do you agree with what I said about the distinction between Instagram and TikTok? And if so, would you say YouTube is closer to Instagram or TikTok?
I think I fully 100% agree. Instagram is very much a social media. I think it's really difficult at times. I'm just saying it. Like, I view TikTok and YouTube as entertainment platforms, and then Instagram as like a social media entertainment platform hybrid, kind of like X Twitter. What they're trying to do, they're trying to build
Yeah.
a entertainment brand of it because they know, like, they just know that's where the money is. But I certainly find I find YouTube, when you're established, to be the one that's most caring to the creator, because it's like your
Mhm.
views, like, yeah, you may not get that crazy spike like you might get on TikTok, but they cater a lot to, like, all right, maybe this video didn't do as well, but we'll still give it like that
Okay.
consistent growth or consistent viewership like your other videos. But I definitely agree, TikTok, when you make a quality video, TikTok will eat that up and send it to 10 million people. Instagram, I view that as kind of like the in between. That's like, you might get a video that gets 2 million views, you might not. It's definitely just like X Twitter. They're kind of like learning where they fall in
Mhm.
the ranks of all the entertainment platforms. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if YouTube is that way, sort of more sympathetic to creators
Mm-hmm.
because of its evolution, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
like the first kind of content creator platform, and I think over the years it's I don't know, it's been built off generations
Yeah,
of
yeah,
feedback from creators, whereas TikTok and Instagram, I don't know, I just don't think they have that same like culture
yeah.
between the people running it and like the people who fuel it.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I've kind of seen it like in the kind of like the sponsorship space as well, where like sponsors, they will, like, they kind of get like this, they get this conflict with TikTok, because TikTok, it's so catered to, if this video is good, it'll blow up. If it's not, then you're going to get like no views. And so when you have like a sponsorship, for instance, a lot of times, at least for me personally, like, the video gets squashed, and then
Yeah.
we've had clients where it's like, they're like, what's going on? I'm like, that's the TikTok algorithm. If you're not going to spend $100,000 to get this thing to 10 million views, then I don't know what to tell you. But sometimes you get a video like that blows up, and it's also a sponsorship, so it's a win-win. But I view
Yeah.
YouTube as the one that cares the most about the creator, and then TikTok cares the most about the audience, for certain.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you about just kind of your genre of content, where I kind
Mhm.
of we have very similar content and like editing style, and it's like, we're both comedy sketch creators as like an umbrella term,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But you certainly cater towards like maybe, school and academia, or
Mhm.
like you've like delved into like politics a little bit, and a lot of the just kind of like fraternity culture. I kind
Yeah.
of just wanted to know where all those like ideas and like those comedy sketch, just like ideas for like content you produce, where that all stems from.
Yeah. I mean, if my brand is making videos about, relatable pain, then the fuel and the inspiration comes
Yeah.
from a lot of my
Yeah.
experiences in college, recruiting for jobs, and then like my brief stint in corporate America, right? So to answer your question succinctly, it's experiences that I've lived. So yeah, I would say like my niches are probably academia, college, one, two, corporate America, like looking for jobs, and three, I have like a whole separate small set of accounts specifically dedicated for poker. Um, so
I was wondering, like, which persona, like, out of like all those different genres and stuff like that, like, are are most similar to you in real life. Like, I know, like, for me, I do like a lot of like, I do videos where I'm like sweating profusely and people eat that
yeah,
up, or
yeah,
I do like, I got my like live channel where I'm like pretending to be a dad yelling at the kids in the car and all that stuff. And I do a lot of different things, and I certainly perceive, I mean, just I perceive myself as like nothing similar to that. Like it's definitely
Uh-huh.
I go out of my like I go I'm very extroverted with my comedy sketches, unlike
Sure.
probably my more introverted self. I want to know like
Yeah.
where you fall with your own like characters that you've built.
Yeah, that's a great question. So in a lot of my videos, there is a character just like named James. It's usually like sort of the main sane protagonist type, and I would say that's me, but it's like a very exaggerated version of me. Personally, like I'm sort of similar to you. I'm a very introverted person,
Mm-hmm.
so I would say the videos where there's like voiceover or you can hear my thoughts. Those are probably the ones that feel most like me. They're just like
Yeah.
exaggerated versions of like real thoughts I would have or have had in those types of situations, like in a in a classroom, sort of just taking in everything that's going around me and just like thinking about it and
Yeah.
getting all like antsy or anxious or frustrated or annoyed. I would say that's probably most similar to me. But at the end of the day, they're all comedic exaggerations, right? I'm
Yeah,
not. I
definitely.
think I portray the James that's portrayed in these videos is usually just like a very pessimistic, like sort of angry person. I wouldn't describe myself in real life as that, but there are definitely bits of me in that person.
Yeah. No, I'm like, God, it's so funny. Like that's definitely how I do it as well. Where it's like it's a very excessively exaggerated version of like what I'm thinking or something like that. Anytime like I've done a few like GTA 6 videos where there's like, an
Mm,
update that comes out, like it's like getting
mm,
delayed, and I try to make some crazy overreaction to that or whatever. But yeah, it's certainly it lies on the fact that I am like affected by whatever the situation is, and I just like
yeah.
make it really theatrical on top of it.
Yeah. And
Uh,
those situations too are like exaggerated, sort of absurd interpretations of like the way I view the world too, right?
yeah.
So it's like this is how my exaggerated, like this is just an exaggerated version of how I see the
Yeah.
world, right?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I just did a GTA 6 video where like it got delayed, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
I
Love that.
wondered like what's going on back there, and then I pretended like it got deleted, and so I just did a whole like
Yeah.
absurd piece on that. You're oh gosh, what it the when you the car mechanic video, or like where you get your car towed. I have to know if that was based on like true events in real life for you, where you like get your car.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
your comment section was
Man,
like saying, this is definitely based on a real experience for him.
almost like verbatim, dude. So I made that video a while ago. I
Yeah,
just uploaded it to YouTube. That was made probably like 8 months ago. It
yeah.
was made literally the day after my car got towed. For that reason, I parked in a visitor spot in my like apartment's parking section.
Uh-huh.
And I'm a resident, and there was no
Yeah.
other parking spaces, right? So I just parked in the visitor spot. Wake up next morning, car's gone. It's because I parked in the visitor spot with the resident sticker, and then I go to like the towing impound place, and it was just oh man, I
Yeah.
like. There's very few occupations where like people I just dislike, and tow truck driver or people who like predatory tow truck
Yeah,
drivers
yeah.
are one of them. So that's why it felt so real because it
Yeah.
was
You're
just
like,
like
I gotta
me
get this
straight.
out. I gotta get this
Yeah.
to the people. I'm the
Uh,
exact same way. I've had situations where I'm just so like mad about something, and I'm like, I
mhm.
gotta make a video on this. I wanted to
It
know.
is liberating.
Yeah, oh, it
Mhm.
totally is. It's very I definitely that's so funny because like we can segue that where it's like I feel like a lot of my own content is very like therapeutic for me. It lets me
Oh yeah.
like how there's people, they tell you like, oh, write it down, like that's a good way to get out your
Hmm.
thoughts. Like for me, it's like I'll just get out my like theatrics on video for like, and then people are like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with him?" So you probably
Hmm.
like do like a pretty similar thing.
Yeah, especially for like bad experiences. It's very exactly therapeutic
Yeah.
to make something that you can laugh at, that other people laugh at.
Uh-huh.
That's why I enjoy making videos about painful experiences. It's a release almost, I
Yeah.
guess.
And then and the best part is you get the acceptance and like support on top of it. You're like,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
I'm not crazy. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Uh, I wanted to know if like with your writing and all that, um, do you do like improv, like when you're like saying some of these lines, is it all fully scripted? Like where's the line with all of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, I would love to know what you do too,
Yeah.
because I think having had these discussions with other creators, everyone has a different approach. For me, I tend to stay away from scripts unless it's like a sponsored video where they demand a script.
Mm-hmm.
My approach is usually first pin down a general like niche I want to make a video within. So it's like today I feel like making a corporate video, and then just constantly um, flicker through different ideas, potential titles until I stumble on one. It's like, okay, I think that is an engaging premise.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, can I imagine a funny sequence of events for that specific premise?
So you are someone that takes the more route of like the just like the vague term of like how there's creators that like think of the thumbnail and title for their content first, or is it more like the idea, like how, like what's the approach, how about, of like making your idea first? Is it
Mhm.
because you said title, so that makes me wonder.
Mhm. I start there just because, like I sort of said earlier, there's a lot of funny videos that can be made and a lot of videos that I really found funny that don't do well. And
Mm-hmm.
after having done like made a bunch of videos, I realized a lot of it's because they were dead from the moment I got the idea. They weren't like relatable
Yeah.
enough, or they weren't about a topic that's hot enough right now. So it could be like the best video ever, but it's kind of its potential growth is stinted by it just being a bad topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that I always start there. It's like, is this relatable enough, or is it about something trendy enough that if I am to make a funny video about this, it will get views?
Yeah.
Whereas if like I choose a topic and then make a really funny video, if the topic isn't good, it doesn't matter. So I like to start there by just finding something I think is like, this is a good
Yeah.
topic. If I can make a funny video, it will get views.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's a lot less methodical, right? It's a lot of just like literally pacing around, trying to make myself laugh, think of a funny sequence,
Uh-huh.
and then I'll really go and shoot. Once I have like an image in my mind of these are sort of the characters, this is what will happen, and this person will say something like this,
Mm-hmm.
and then hop on camera, a lot of improv, a million takes, throw it all into an editing software, try to piece it together like a puzzle until I find something that's funny. Watch it for like hours until I don't find any of it funny, and then come back to it. And it's like, okay, maybe I reshoot some stuff, but it's very rare that I'll create a script and follow it exactly line by line, everything that's said.
Mm-hmm. So that makes me wonder, what is your, like, how do you go about with the production? Like, are you, for me, and I'll just give my example to help with getting the answer. Like I'll do one character at a time. So like I'll film all, like,
Mhm.
because I write out my scripts. I'll do improv, in the moment,
Mhm.
like when I think of something on the spot. And usually it's funny because like those end up being the most naturally funny ones because it just came to mind in the moment. But I do like one
Yeah.
character at a time. So I'll do all the dialogue lines for one character and then do the other one. So how's your work ethic with all that?
Yeah, I do the same thing, one character at a
Okay.
time. Frequently, I'll end up dressing back up as another character and doing more shots for that. But when it comes to improv and how that works, is like I'll improv something as one character and then just really like it. So I'll take like a mental note. Okay, since I changed the direction of this video, now when I dress up as the other character, I have to,
Wow.
respond to that new thing.
So
Um,
you're
and then,
memorizing all of it. I mean, because I would think like if you're filming for like 30 minutes or something like that as one character, do you ever go back to like, shoot, I forgot to respond to that line?
all the time, yeah,
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
But that's what it's kind of handy. If I was like shooting this live and not in front of a green screen, my process would be almost impossible,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's very easy for me unless it's a character that like requires a lot of messy hair. If I'm wearing like makeup, then it becomes a pain. But a lot of times it's just changing shirts, right? So go off camera, change shirts, hop in front of the camera again.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny. Yeah, especially with a green screen. I got mine over here. It makes it like the camera angles essentially like pretty much the same. Like for me, I definitely do a lot of fixed shots and do like a little camera wiggle in post and all that. So yeah, it definitely makes things like flow a lot better. Yeah, so you brought up earlier about kind of like a video maybe like doing really well or doesn't do as well. I wanted to know how you deal with those, where maybe you have a video that like, let's say you don't think it's going to do well and then it blows up, or vice versa, where you're like, oh man, this video is going to do, it's so freaking funny, and then it's just like a complete flop.
I'm not sure if you related to this, but it's almost always whenever I'm really excited about a video, I think it's so funny. It's always that one.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
95% of the time, that does not do well
Yeah.
and bombs. So I've experienced that obviously a lot of times. I'm sure you've experienced it
Mm-hmm.
a ton of times too. And it sucks. You get sort of desensitized to it over time. I think if there's like one rule I set for myself though, is if I posted a video that just bombed, like in my head, I'm like, James, okay, you have to go and start making another.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in those moments where it's so easy to get discouraged and say, screw it,
Yeah.
I'll wake up tomorrow or in a few days and, try to fight back or make a better video. But just like one rule I like to follow is when you do something, like when you experience sort of a setback or a failure or disappointment, it's like those are the moments where it's really important to, you know, keep going,
Mm-hmm.
make something else. And after 20 minutes of doing that, you'll sort of the pain or whatever, the disappointment of
Yeah.
the other video will wane off, and you'll get more excited about the next thing you're making.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I've definitely been there where like I've had yeah, that whole just the whole freaking variety of it all where like there's some I definitely know and maybe it's not always the idea. It's like I know the trend is big. So like if I make a GTA 6 video, which has just kind of been a big
Mm-hmm.
topic recently, it's like I
Mm-hmm.
almost know it's going to do well. It's like whether the
Yeah.
video is good, like whether the video is funny or not, like I know it's going to like do decent. I did a whole video where I was like pretending like I made GTA 6 like overly detailed and like the idea of like you getting a car, you have to go like
I
into
love that
yeah,
video.
you have to go
The
into the
car insurance
office
video.
and yeah, sign the
Yeah, yeah.
contracts and like what kind of what insurance do you have and all that. And that was a video that was very like uh like I was worried it wasn't going to do well. I was worried because it was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's a very mature topic, regardless of it being about GTA 6, haha, that's funny. The idea of like, like cars warranty and like insurance and just in an office. I was worried, but I knew with the topic of GTA 6, it was I like hopefully going to do well. And
Yeah.
it did decent. It didn't do as good as my other ones, but it did relatively well. And
No,
then
I thought that was so creative, man.
thank you.
Let me
Yeah.
just say, like that. I think the video was POV GTA 6 is like too real or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
And
exactly.
if I were to imagine that video, I would not have I would be, I think the brain naturally goes to like a version of it where everyone is super AI, or it's like it was just such a good twist on that.
I appreciate that.
And like I guess yeah, there. If I were making that video, I would be like a little concerned that maybe the audience wouldn't get it, or
Yeah,
like
it's not
it's
like a
too.
crazy, it's not a theatrical, intense video.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
and
But
I've,
it came through.
yeah, it certainly did. And it was because of the topic. And that was the only way. It's like when I made that video, it's like GTA 6 being on top of it allowed me to even produce that kind of video. You know what I mean? I couldn't do a funny, boring video. Like, cause I love your kind of humor where there's like, you have very mature topics at times that like, they're just like some of mine are very crazy, you know what I mean, and that's kind of how I get the like the big spikes out of my viewerships is like when I just go above and beyond with theatrics and crazy and I'm sweating and the music is loud and all that. But you're able to do videos where it's like it's much more like mature subtle comedy that freaking just cracks me up like crazy. I just love it. I remember like, and these are one of your bigger hits, like one of the videos that like I found you on was like or one of the ones that I love the most is like where you're comparing, you're like, oh, you have to like, I'm going to totally butcher it, but you're like, you have to carry the one and then over the gravitational pull of a black hole. And I'm just like, that's so freaking funny. Like just physics class and like being able to like make fun of these absurd questions in like these like college classes. And
Yeah.
then there's the opposite side where it's like, yeah, there's been videos where I've been like, I knew the GTA 6 video would do well, and then there's videos where I don't think it's gonna do well, and then like it blew up. Like the biggest contradiction to my thoughts happened this year. I did like a
The
like
gorilla.
that that one actually no gosh that one I thought was gonna do really well, and it didn't. Which I mean it is an example of one of those, but I thought I did a Whiplash parody with a ChatGPT. It's like a Whiplash. It's a movie parody, and I'm just being really mean at
Oh yeah,
ChatGPT.
yeah.
And I knew it
Hmm.
was like a pretty like it wasn't like a very silly video. It was like a very mature, like just like being mean to ChatGPT, and it was a parody video of a movie. So I was a little worried. I'm like, my audience might not know this movie. It's like it's like a just a really high quality film, and then it's like it's one of my highest performing videos this year, and
Hmm.
so that was like probably to this day, like out of the last like 5 years I've been doing content creating, where I thought like I was making the video because I just wanted to. I
Yeah.
really didn't think it was gonna do well. I thought it was gonna like do poor. I thought it was going to do terrible. And then it was like one of like one of my highest viewed videos this year. What
Can I
has
ask you
been,
a question?
yeah.
So yeah, I know it's your podcast, but there's one question
No,
I just
no.
really want to ask you. Now that we're talking about this, do you put in so much effort into like your videos, the VFX, the outfits, the sweating, the makeup,
Thank
everything?
you.
I'm wondering. This is definitely something you've had to have thought about. Like, what do you think is the how much do you think that does that correlate to video performance? And how much of it is you just doing it because you care like so much about your videos and you just want to make it like the best it possibly can? Like, do you think, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
how
it's a great
yeah,
question. Yeah, like just the work to view ratio, like how much work am I putting into something, in relation to how many views is it going to potentially get? For me, like I always circle back cuz I think about that all the time cuz sometimes like I also have uh I do a majority of my comedy skits. I have a few editors that I sometimes when it's like one of those like in between videos where like I might be producing something bigger, but I have like maybe a smaller funny skit in between. I might send that off to like one of our like teammates we got, and like they help with like the live gaming channel as well. But I always circle back to like the whole reason I do this is because I care about making these like extraordinary, like funny videos that have like high production. It's like then it goes to like, well, then what am I doing it for? You know what I mean? It's like, why am I producing this if I'm not giving it the
yeah,
110% that like I started doing this all for? Because I love like filmmaking. I love the idea of like making videos, producing this whole piece that like took me 2 weeks to make and all that stuff. Like that's what I fell in love with. And so I all the time I'm like, gosh, did I really have to put this much effort into it? But at the end of the day, it's like another good thing is like, maybe someone big might see that one day or like a client of a future sponsorship might
yeah.
see that. It's so funny because there's kind of this culture in like the content creating world where it's like, oh, I'm going to put all my love and effort into my videos. But when it's like a sponsorship, like, I'm going to put work into
Yeah,
it,
dude,
but
this is so real.
and I'm like I'm the opposite. I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I want to
yeah,
make these clients that like
yeah.
are paying me this money. I want that video to be one of my best videos I've
Yes,
ever
yes,
produced ever.
yeah,
And like and it's kind of great cuz it's like they almost give you a budget, It's like they give you this production budget that like 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 as like a full-time content creator now. And I'd love to ask you about that as well, like just where you lie in all that, like being a
hmm,
full-time creator and all that. But like for me, this is my full-time job. And
yeah,
when a sponsor is able to kind of like just give me this budget, they're paying me for this project. I'm like, well, I don't even have to care. I mean, I do care about the views. Clients, I care about the views. I care number one priority. But I prioritize just putting as much work into the video as I
yeah,
possibly can. And that's just a little piece on your resume. It's your portfolio. It's like
yeah,
I did I did a video with Xbox that I'm so proud of. It was like an Xbox
yeah.
PC Game Pass, like
Is it
Frostpunk.
the one where you're like,
Yes,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm in Florida. I got studio lights on. That I had an ice pack inside of me because I was like
No
overheating.
way.
I was I couldn't remember my lines. My mom was helping me. I felt like I was brain dead because I was so hot in this jacket. And I have to do this the whole time, which is heating me up even more. So I'm like, but I wanted to go above and beyond because one, it was like Xbox, I want to make these clients proud. But that's been my approach to all of it. Is like I always want to put as much work into it because then like what's the point at the end of the day if I'm
That
not?
keeps them coming back too. So I agree 100%. When it
Yeah.
comes to sponsor videos, I put in like 2 to 3 times effort
Yeah,
into
yeah.
them, and I'll do multiple revisions. Sometimes I won't like even be asked to like make a revision, but I want it to be as good as it possibly can. So I'll just do it on my own. Like I didn't find this funny, and I think there is like I don't know. There's something. It's strategic in a way because I want to
Yeah.
make a video so good that they come back and
Yeah.
give me more money, and
Or
that's
like
like at the end of the
other
day, that's
sponsors see it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's how like I get the majority of my new work, right? They see a video I did for this other brand. So if you consistently put in a lot of effort in your sponsor videos, you'll get more clients. And that's the
Hmm.
only way I know of how to do this, what we're doing, like comedy skits, short form, and make a living from it
Yeah,
because the
absolutely.
platforms don't pay you enough, right?
Yeah.
So you have to rely on making these. There is like an inverse correlation though, which I don't like, between how I'm it's almost like a negative feedback loop, right? I do really good
Mm-hmm.
on my regular videos. That gets more brands looking at my account. Maybe they see some past work and then they decide to hire me. And then I have to divert a lot of my energy and focus to making these
Yes.
sponsored videos, which don't get as many views and they take up more time. So I'm making less content for my main channel. So less brands are seeing me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I get a lot of business, it slows down my main business, which
Yes.
slows down my business
Yes.
development,
Yeah.
which makes me get less business, which gives me more time to work on my main business, which gets me more,
Yeah.
it's
No,
like,
it's and
that's,
that is the like blessing and curse of like short form content creating, because when it's short form you have to dedicate the entire sponsorship to that video. There's no, if you got a long form video that's 40 minutes long, you're a gaming channel, you can integrate a sponsorship into a video that you're already making, you know what I mean? But when you're making a
yeah,
skit that is
yes,
for a client, they want full script approval, it's 30
yes,
seconds, you can't dedicate anything else to it,
yes,
so and I've had that exact same like idea in my head where it's like if I'm doing a sponsorship, it takes away from producing original viral content. So it's like I got to make sure I keep producing that and like try, like I've done times where I'm working on a sponsorship and I try to make another video while I'm editing the sponsorship because I know like this one's going to take me 2 weeks to fully finish, or like, because they come back with revisions and that takes some time, and I'm
mm-hmm.
doing that every day with them or every other day. So I certainly try to dedicate a lot of time to balancing the both. Um, I did want to ask you, like, where is like your kind of like mindset with like ads to producing videos, like, or like sponsored videos to making videos? Like, what's your healthy ratio of content? I know my mom, I love her so much and she has the right idea. She's like, you should do a lot more sponsorships. I'm like, Mom, if I do more sponsorships, I'm going to get less views. And if I get less views, we're going to get less sponsorships. So it would be cool to know at a technical level, like for the audience and anyone like trying to like grow as a content creator, where you fall in there.
uh if an offer is a good one, I'll almost never say no,
Mm-hmm.
even if I'm like loaded up with stuff. It's
Yeah.
almost
Yeah.
like say yes and then figure out how to make
Yeah.
it all
Yeah.
work. So I go through periods where like they're just, I got like, two sponsor videos that I'm behind on, and this new one's coming in, and I'm trying to like make my regular content, and I don't know. There's no real like strategy, rhyme, or reason. I just say yes if it's a good enough offer. There's a lot of like stuff I might say no to, right? But I'll say no to that regardless of whether I'm busy or whether I'm not. So
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of my approach. How about you?
Yeah, no, totally. And with short form content, it is like you said, it's like 90% of, your like a creator's income as a short form creator is through sponsorships. That's kind of
Yeah.
just the industry's thing right now. That's kind of just what the culture says. And ideally, I'm an advocate for, like, I think these platforms should be being able to pay creators more reasonably. TikTok for me has been very inconsistent. I'll have a month where I get a few $100, and then I'll get one where I get $50, and I'm like, this is for the entire month of August. That's crazy. But and YouTube, that's why I'm always an advocate for YouTube, because for me, YouTube has been a lot more consistent with like revenue and all that. And then yeah, sponsorships are the main way of making that income. So I do fall in the same way where I have to naturally, if a sponsorship comes in, I kind of have to cater to that. That's a big priority. If I have a big project in the works, I got to halt it, because I got it. I don't know about you. I've had sponsors come, they're like, we need this in 2 days. And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and it's like, it's the craziest turnaround time. Yeah, I
You
would,
texted me the other day, bro.
yeah.
I was pulling an all-nighter when we were texting the other day because it was that same situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the only time it happens. Is when they want a video for like something that's hot right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So that's they wanted a video for about the mayoral election, and
Yeah.
it's like they need that now, right? So it's yeah, you just gotta make it happen,
Yeah,
right? Or
you
else
got
you
to
don't
get
get
it
paid.
done. I had a sponsorship. It was so funny. I had one, it was the same day. They're like, we need you to produce this video and get it out as fast as it was like it was for a video game, and I had to dress up as a character, and I like had makeup on and all this stuff. I was editing it still in makeup, and I sent it to him, and I told my agent like, you let them know I'm literally just sitting with makeup on right now in case we need to do revisions. And they're like, you're good, take the makeup off, you're fine, send it out. But yeah, it's a crazy world where like, and I think that's something that a lot of like people who just like watch content, just like all of us, I mean, we're all viewers. You don't realize the sometimes insane pacing of it all. Like a video goes out, it's viral for 3 days, and then you got to keep going. It's like, it's over. Like that was it, you
The
know?
world forgot about it,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. It's a very, very fast paced market, just like the content itself. Um,
I think it's like a lot of survival. It feels
yes.
to me
Yeah.
like if you aren't able to sort of, and thank God, like I'm very grateful to be able to do this and make a living, and like I love it, and thank God I love it. But it's yeah, if you're not able to consistently put in that pace,
Yeah.
you probably won't be able to do it for a long time because that's what it takes. There's constantly other people, coming in and
Mhm.
experiencing their first explosion, and they have like a lot of novelty on them because they had like it's the first time anyone's seeing their content. They're doing something new, and you're
Mhm.
sort of competing against those people who are really fresh
Yeah.
while trying to innovate with your own content. And yeah, it's if you're not able to consistently just put in a lot of effort and
Yeah,
energy,
just
you probably won't
crank
be able to
out
do it for a long
videos.
time.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's very difficult because that was when I got out of college. I took the risk of like, I'm gonna try this full time for 6 months. I'm just gonna crank out as much high quality content as I can. Because in my opinion, that's like one of the very few ways you can do it because it's such a aggressive market that if you're unable to do them, at least one video, like for me, now with like, because I've just kind of changed things every so often, like with my comedy skit channel, I produce like one really high quality video per week, and then I got like the gaming side, I'm trying to produce 1 or 2 videos of that per week, so I'm producing like 3 videos per week. I would love to know, like, if you like kind of just like what your life situation is right now. Are you a full-time content creator? What led to whatever scenario?
Yeah. So I've been full time for over a year and a half, almost 2 years. I quit my job 4 months into it. It was uh, January 2020, January 2024. So almost
Mm-hmm.
2 years full time. When I quit, I was just making money through TikTok. Literally, yeah, that was my only source of income.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, I was actually, they paid more back then. And
Yeah.
since I was making a higher quantity of videos, I also got paid more. But yeah, I've been doing it full time ever since. And then quickly doing that, my main income transferred from the platforms to sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, what was the, sorry, I
Yeah,
forgot,
just
what was
like
the
just
question?
the like transition. I'd just love to know the transition from like essentially becoming a full-time content creator. Like what was that like, that changing, like the risk and all that?
It felt like burning the bridges.
Uh-huh.
Like looking back, I mean, when I did it, when I decided to quit, everyone thought, everyone around me thought it was like a stupid decision. Looking back, I think it's a stupid decision.
Where
The
were
amount of,
you with the followers? Like just to give some context.
uh, I believe I was at 120K on TikTok, probably like 40, 50K on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Again, which just looking back, knowing what I know now about short form and social media, I wouldn't recommend doing that. But I'm glad that I did it. I think I did it for the right reasons, which is I was just so like kind of obsessed with what I was doing, and I
Mm-hmm.
kind of felt like no matter what, if this goes completely downhill, if I start making no money, I will like I just know myself, and I know I'll continue to try to do
Yeah,
it and try to
yeah,
make videos, right? And I'm not afraid to take that risk because I know that no matter what, like I won't stop. So that was kind of my mindset. That
yeah.
still is my mindset, but it's extremely risky. You need like a very high risk tolerance, I would say, to try to pursue something as unconventional as
Yeah,
making
yeah,
videos
certainly.
for a living.
It's a total like, because I don't know why it took me so long, but it's like it's the entrepreneurial route, It's like you are risking, like you're starting your own business essentially, and you're seeing if that's gonna like take off or not. Did you have like a grace period for yourself of like, I'm gonna try this for X amount of months or?
No, I think that would probably be a wise way to think about it. I just thought
So
like
yeah,
no
you're
matter
just
what,
full force. Yeah. Yeah.
no matter what, yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I was just like burn the bridges. This is 'cause I'd never been in my life actually like doing something that I liked. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It was the first time where it's like I'd spent years, studying things I wasn't passionate about and pursuing jobs that I didn't want. And I was like, for the first time in my life, it's this connection between providing something of value
Hmm.
and how much I enjoy the process of making. I was like, I, I, yeah, I just got to take this as far as it can go.
No, I'm the exact same way. Like I think I realized because and I'm not whatever. People will say like, oh, content create like there's a lot of like conversations and controversy about like whether content creators. For one, there's a lot of people that are like millionaires. I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire from content creating, but it's like there's a lot of work that I put into it. And like, so I can only speak for myself. Like, I put a lot of work into my videos, and sometimes it does make me be like, gosh, like, is this almost like, is this worth it? Like the amount of effort sometimes I have to like put into these videos where I'm exhausted. Some videos I'm like screaming and I've like hurt my throat a couple times, like, cause I'm like yelling at the top of my lungs. And I'm like, I think I might need to go to the hospital. But
That's so.
yeah, I know it's so stupid, but it's like I realize at the end, I'm like, so I went to school for software engineering, and I for one, I love it. I love software development. I love game development. I love all of that. It's kind of like another creative medium for me. But I realized I was like, okay, I can either be doing this. Yeah, it's sometimes hard. It's sometimes crazy. It's volatile. It's a very aggressive industry. Um, I could either be doing this or I could be sitting at a cubicle, like just typing. And it's like that's going to be my life for the next X amount of decades. And so I totally had the mindset of like, yeah, I love this. I might as well, whether or not like sometimes it's difficult or like challenging or it's risky. It's like I might as well risk enjoying my life and loving what I do. And probably just like you feel like you haven't worked a day since you started it. You're just obsessed with it. And so that's been my mindset is like I'm always
Yeah,
grateful of like producing content.
yeah, and I think yeah, those moments where you are like it does feel overwhelming, or like you do have a deadline that's absolutely crushing you. It's like it's 12 a.m. and you're by yourself
Yeah.
screaming at a camera for the fourth thing of it. Like I think that's just sort of like the price of it, of
Yeah.
like of pursuing this. So
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
like I like there's gonna be moments that suck, but like when I look back at it with like a clear mind, I'm very like yeah, just grateful to be
Yeah.
like that's I
Yeah, you totally
that's
got to like look at the big picture and be like, "Oh my God, like I'm so I need to be grateful about this incredible opportunity I have." And that's all it takes. I mean, you just got to kind of reset yourself. And that's what I do. I just reset myself. I'm like, "Okay, I'm juggling the gaming channel and like I'm overwhelmed and I'm stressed, and I've tried to set like times that I'm allowed to work because sometimes I'll work so late. I'm like, I'm not letting my brain rest at all. I'm just constantly thinking and like about ideas or a video that's coming out soon. So it's all about, yeah, balancing it and just being really, yeah, reminding yourself that you're grateful for what you got, that we're all like being able to do these incredible jobs for a full-time
because that
living.
puts you in a good mood, right? Like if
Yeah,
you're looking at it
totally.
from that perspective, and you got to be in a good mood a lot of time to like think
Yes.
funny and to write
Yes.
funny and to act funny. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a great topic. And I have a couple questions, so we should talk about that. How do you deal with like, um, we'll talk about like maybe like writer's block and stuff like that, but even just emotionally, let's talk about emotionally where like, let's say you're not in a good mood, you're not, pumped up and all that stuff, but you feel like you really need to produce a video. How do you get through that obstacle?
gym man. Like
Oh yeah.
the most core thing in my routine is going to the gym. Just like it does wonders for my like mental world.
Yeah.
I can never be in a bad mood
Hmm.
after I walk out of like the session working out, right? So if I need a reset, I go to the gym. I also have like some like breathing exercises
Hmm.
I do that sometimes take me out of those really like bad mental states. Uh, like I think, yeah, because man, if you're, it's that's like the worst scenario, right? You need to make something
Yeah.
funny,
Yeah.
and you're in such a bad mood, you feel stressed. It's like how. how am I supposed to be funny when I feel like shit right now?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I
How
mean,
about you?
yeah, I have the exact same problem. I've done things where sometimes I've kind of had the mindset on occasion because I've really taken the route of putting more and more work into my videos. So in turn, I've been making maybe not as many skits, but I put just as much effort into it. You know, like if a video, if I were to be making 2 videos in 1 week, well, I'm putting the same amount of work into one video. And I do I kind of built this like hybrid of making skits that are widescreen and vertical. So I'll produce a widescreen version, like I cater
Yeah.
to that, and then I'll make a cropped vertical version. So I'm putting in like, twice the effort to make sure it still works well, and editing a whole lot again for the vertical version to make sure the background looks good and all that. Um, but I try to make it I try to make it that if I'm not in a good mood for a video, I might as well work on something else. Like for me, again, I have like different channels and stuff like that. Just like the podcast channel, if I've been wanting to have a conversation with you, so I've catered more towards that today than something
Mhm.
else like making a skit or a gaming video. So I like to personally divert my focus rather than force myself through a comedy skit. Now that's not how I used to be. I used to be like, yeah, I got to get in the right mood. I got to like brainstorm and try to get out of this rut. For me, I think I just took the route of like, listen, if I'm not going to perform it at my best right now, I need to like divert my attention to something else.
The only problem for me is like pretty much all the content I'm making right now is some form of skit. So it's
Yeah.
like if it's not a skit for my main page or for like it's like okay, fine, then let's now I have to make a poker skit.
Yeah.
So I sort of
No,
run into the same problem, which is
yeah. I mean, the reason I made other forms of like brands online, if you want to call it that, is for that very reason of like, I know there's going to be times where I have like a block and I'm not in the mood for a comedy skit. You know what I mean? So then, okay, then I'll do a 2 hour gaming video where I play some
sure.
storyline or something, or have a great conversation on the podcast. I'm always just like, it allows me to not also get burnt out. And that
Mhm.
it's a pretty similar question, but do you have like any advice on like overworking yourself, or like you ever feel like you're doing so much and you're getting tired? Like how do you deal with that rather than so like we kind of just talked about prepping for a video. How do you deal with like kind of the aftermath of just constantly working on content?
Yeah, I burn out quite a bit. I don't know. This is a problem I run into all the time. So I
Yeah.
don't have any like good strategies
Yeah.
or like a
No,
really
I'm the exact same
good
way.
solution to
Yeah.
that. For me, like usually if it's after like really grueling, maybe 2 weeks of grinding on videos or like a project or something, it will sort of culminate into like one day where I wake up and I just like feel it in my body. Like I
Yeah.
cannot physically get out of bed
Yeah.
today. Like I'm aching, like my brain's not
Yeah.
working, and I'll just stay in bed the entire
Yeah.
day. That's literally
Yeah.
I
So
come
yeah,
like
you
gone.
naturally take a break if you need to.
Yeah, yeah. It kind of all culminates into one day of just like rotting.
Yeah.
Essentially, I
Yeah.
won't like I'll do like nuke my schedule. Won't do anything. Sit in bed. Watch like YouTube videos, and
Hmm.
then I'll fall asleep early, and then the next day I'm usually back at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You're all
So
reset.
that's
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm very similar that way. I wanted to circle back about kind of like the ideas that you come up with. Do you ever, and again, this is like essentially for like advice for viewers, like when you come up with ideas, are you ever like, I know like a lot are original and they come up on the spot. Do you ever take from your audience? Like, do they give you ideas and like, you're like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Or like you see a comment from your content and you're like, oh my gosh, this inspired this video idea.
Yeah, that definitely does happen. I would say though the majority of like comments on a particular video are about that video, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's usually more rare that like I'll find one that makes me think, oh my god, this could be a whole another separate video. I'd say the majority of the videos I create just come from this process of just trying to like make myself laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and again, I'll view every single potential idea through that filter of like, do I think this hits the right sort of do I think
Niche.
this will like is it a, yeah do I like is it a hot enough topic or is it like engagement heavy, is it
Yeah.
relatable, and that's just sort of like a filter I look at every potential video, but the actual like ideas just come from trying to trying to think of something I would find funny. Usually when I like try to do like, I don't know what you call like investigative work or like
Yeah.
research or like trying
Yeah.
to go out into the world and find an idea,
Analyzing.
it
Yeah.
doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't work out too well. Like I'll go to maybe I'll like try to go to like Reddit for inspiration to
Hmm.
see if I can find a video to make or like watch a bunch of TikToks. But I find that the best videos usually come from um, trying to make myself laugh.
Yeah, I'm totally the exact same way. And then for me, like it's similar how I'll have an idea and then I'm like, how can I focus this on a popular trend in the
Hmm.
space at the moment, you know? Uh like with, you know, like again, like the GTA 6 series is very funny, and then I can do ideas, you know, on top of that. You like I could easily, if I wanted to, I could do other funny, comedically boring jobs and make that a whole series in GTA 6. You know what I mean? And it's like
Hmm.
because it's GTA 6, it allows me to do like these like absurd, boring jobs, like, you know,
Yeah.
or get someone
So
food
you,
delivery.
yeah. So you do sort of agree with me on the like in the sense that a lot of the time what the video is about is the biggest driving factor of
Yeah.
if it will perform.
That's what I've learned as I've evolved as a creator. It's like, and that's the unfortunate thing about like the short form space is like it's I hate to say it, it's like it's not about you. You know what I mean? It's like it's your video isn't gonna perform because it's not gonna perform well because it's, you know, you find it super funny. If it's going to do that as well, but it needs to be on a popular topic. It has to be
Yeah.
trendy. It has to have this
Yeah.
very grabbing thing in the culture right now that's going to make it blow up. And when you can add that on top of, oh, I have this hilarious idea on top of it,
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
formula for success right there. That's a lottery
Exactly. Yeah.
ticket. And I
Yeah.
I certainly have had videos where I just know if I produce this, it's going to do well. And it's like not an ego thing or anything like that. It's just like, it's just the science and math behind it. Like if it's a
Hmm.
GTA 6 video or some funny, about Battlefield just came out. If I did a
Hmm.
Battlefield video, it's
Hmm.
just going to perform well. Um, you know, kind of just
Same.
in that space of all that, what is some huge misunderstanding people have about content creating that you've learned over the last couple of years?
People view it as this one like amorphous like career type
Yeah.
like thing people do. I think like just say content creator influencer is as vague as like to analogize like corporate America. It's as vague as saying like he works like a white collar job in the sense that like it could apply, it could mean so many different things,
Yeah.
but like from
Yes.
what platform
Yeah,
you
it's
do
very
to your
vague.
audience
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
yeah just like to, from what you're doing to like how you make money from it
Mm-hmm.
to yeah. But I think a misconception is just like for people who want to get into content, I think a lot of people who want to like start making content and want to turn it into a career usually start by doing something, making a piece of content that they're not passionate about or that like they're just doing it because they've seen it someone else do it and see that it works. So they'll just
Totally.
start grinding that. But I think it's a real easy way to burn out
Mm-hmm.
because if you're not making something that you're proud of and that you really like, you probably won't be able to stick with it long enough where it actually does
Yeah,
start
to
getting
even see it
views.
succeed. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, that I would say that's one of the biggest factors, if not the biggest factor, as to whether or not someone makes it in like, I mean, it can apply to anything really. It's really just more like about like passion in any, you know, sense, like
Hmm.
even outside of content creating. But like, if you're not passionate about it, like there's people who love there's, I mean, the best analogy is there's people who love watching football and there's people who love playing football, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like just because you love watching football doesn't mean you're going to love playing it. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of people, I think there's this misconception where, oh, I love watching this guy play Minecraft, or I love watching these guys like make jokes on a podcast. It's so funny. I love that. I love watching it. And then when they do it, they're like,
Hmm.
oh God, this is miserable. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting 100 views and I just put, you know, 12 hours of work into this video. You know, I don't even enjoy the editing and all that stuff. Like, yeah, it's,
Hmm.
you have to be passionate about it for certain.
And I think like maybe if you know try to replicate that Minecraft YouTuber that you love watching and you don't like it, you could probably find something you do love making. I
Yes,
think
totally.
it's just about being open to experiment and try new things and
Yeah.
get better. And once you, I do like really believe this. If you find something that you just love freaking making it,
Hmm.
that's the fuel. That's how you
Yes.
if you follow that and for enough time, if you just keep making it and like endure zero views, I think at one point you will see it start to pay
Hmm.
off. It just takes a lot of consistency through zero engagement.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's what I tell my buddies because some of my friends like want to try content creating and they're like, what
Hmm.
should I do? I'm like, what do you
Yeah.
want to do? You know, like
Yeah.
that it's you need to be able to have the passion behind it. You know what I mean? It's like it's
Mhm.
not gonna come from anywhere else. You're just and that's what I tell them, I'm
Mhm.
like, you need if you're not passionate about it, it's not gonna succeed. You have to
Mhm.
love the thing you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to put enough work into it for it to even take off. And like
Yeah.
my friends will be like, yeah, well, I was looking at the analytics, and I'm like, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that for the next like 2 years. You know, like don't worry about merch. Don't worry about the
Yeah.
numbers. Don't worry about thumbnails. Don't worry about any of that. Like build your own. You got to
Yeah.
do it. You shouldn't be like it's really like you shouldn't be asking these questions. You know, you just need to do it because you want to, and then that's gonna bring the success naturally. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when people ask me for advice, they like view it as if like I'm gonna be able to give some like scientific,
Yeah.
like data proven strategy from going to 0 to 100 when just like at the start, it's just about finding something that you're passionate about making.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what that is, then the process starts at trying to find out what that is through making something and
Yeah.
then pivoting to this thing. And if you do it long enough, I do think you will find it.
Yeah. And slowly but surely, just like you've been, that we've been talking about, it's like you then start to become analytical. You see what works, you see what doesn't. But I think people skip the step of like, you got to love it first. That's the whole reason you
Hmm.
get into the space. And then you start to like, oh, this works better if I do it this way instead of that way. And then you start to kind of branch and grow in that realm. You get a lot of comments like, on your videos that like really make your day or just like it completely changes your whole outlook on a video you produced or it made it all worth it. And I wanted to know like what is one of the best compliments as a creator that someone could give you, like what makes you like wow, that just made it all worth it, that just made my week.
I think I wish I could give you a specific one, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Anything though that touches on like they notice something about it that most people don't notice. They notice like a detail, or they notice like, wow, he had to have put a lot of work into this
Mm-hmm.
because he's wearing like 12 different outfits in this video, and like the background's changing a million different times. Because going back to what you said, and this is just I don't this doesn't bother me, but I know for a fact people don't realize how much effort and time I put
Mm-hmm.
into these, even if a lot of that effort doesn't make the video making funnier. I do really invest a lot of
Mm-hmm.
energy into them. So when any comment that just about that, it's like, wow, you doesn't even have to be about how good it was, just that he like I could see that you put in the
Yeah,
effort. It
yeah.
makes me feel like someone's noticing it, someone appreciates it, even if it didn't make it better.
Yeah. No, it
Um,
totally, yeah. Like when people recognize a detail or something, it's such a good feeling. Or like maybe even a callback. I do something kind of, I do videos that like, they're just a little series or whatever, and someone recognizes a callback to an old video.
Oh
I
yeah, that's a
love
good
that.
one.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
Actually, that might be my favorite. When somebody comments something that like it makes it clear that they've been watching for a long
Yeah.
time, or like
Yeah.
they remembered a video from 2 years back.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like if I ever get like, if someone comes up to me, I'll still get videos. I get comments about like a video from like 4 years ago. And I'm like, I barely
Yeah.
remember that. It's just the
Yeah.
funniest thing to see that. I was gonna ask you about like, you do a lot of different kinds of content. Some are like you have a whole spectrum of videos where they're like just very simple and just hilarious, or there's more aggressive ones. I wanted to know like if you've ever had videos that you're like worried about posting. You're like, oh god, is this going to get me canceled? Like just with all the PC culture and or
Yeah.
just in general, if you've like stopped producing a video.
So the ones I'm most worried about is anything related to politics, right?
Yeah.
And I rarely make videos about politics for that reason. If I'm gonna make a video about politics, I usually just like try to make it the least I don't know.
Biased.
I'll just like Yeah, just the least biased video possible. Target more like politics in general, because there's a lot of things I just hate about politics,
Yeah.
both sides,
Which,
left
by the
and
way,
right.
that New York mayor video that you did, like that was so perfectly balanced of making fun of like all the parties,
Mhm.
and like it didn't feel like there was no biasness. There wasn't like this feeling of like an obvious side that you were catering towards. Like it was a perfect example of like an unbiased, funny political video.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the goal. But there are other times, politics aside, where it's like, is this joke to
Mm-hmm.
my main concern is I don't think I'll ever make something that we're like my audience gets really pissed off
Yeah.
about, because my mind doesn't really think about, like, I don't write stuff that's just that low that I have to worry about like people watch my videos getting mad at me. I'm more
Yeah. Yeah.
concerned with, like, especially with things like cursing. I used to curse so much more than I do now, and the main consideration is, will that turn me off to potential, sponsorships or
True.
business,
Yeah.
right? So that's usually my big concern now. If I'm thinking of a joke is too out there or like a little bit too R-rated, it's like, could the wrong marketing team see
Yeah,
this?
no, and that's a very valid answer. Yeah, because you have to worry. My approach has been like I always want to produce like family friendly content. I mean, some of my stuff is like I like to say like the PG-13, like not be crazy, outrageous, but still like find it very humorous and a little bit more mature. Just like ideally the perfect hybrid. Um, uh, I don't have a good segue for this, but I was going to ask you about kind of like this new thing in the culture with content creating, just the entertainment world in general, which is like AI and generative AI. And I wanted to kind of just hear your thoughts on it when you first started hearing about generative AI with images, writing. Now we have crazy video models that are nearly getting to the point where, whether we like it or not, they're generating very realistic videos that I see all the time on TikTok now that the entire comment section doesn't realize it's an AI generated video. So I just wanted to hear your opinion on just all of that.
And also, like, this is something I really want to hear your
Yeah,
take
yeah.
on. I mean, I think like the average person, I hate, like, despise the idea of AI taking like a front seat driver position in any form
Mm-hmm.
of like content or art. Like, I think as a very specifically geared tool, there are applications where I think it can help creative, like the creative process, without being in like a big ethical concern.
Mm-hmm.
But like what I can't stand is the idea of it making something from start to finish, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like, yes, the Soras, the like video generation, the AI music artists, like I
Mm-hmm.
despise that, and I'm very glad. And this is something I didn't expect. Just like the reaction from the general public towards AI has
Mm-hmm.
been so strong and
Yeah.
negative,
Very
which is
negative.
which
Yeah.
brings me a lot of confidence, right? Because I don't think I like it sort of needs more public support if it's going to start like getting like views, like
Yeah.
for so to summarize, I don't think it's a huge threat, at least for like the type of stuff we're making. I think if you're going to use it, there are like specific applications where I personally don't think it's like a big ethical concern. Like I use ChatGPT for like research things or
Yeah.
like
Totally.
word tightening or whatever. But um, yeah, that's sort of my take.
Yeah. I mean, I've done videos like with making fun of ChatGPT. And let's say I like this whiplash video I was talking about earlier. He's like writing an essay. It's like, what am I going to go out of my way to like write a whole essay when the whole joke is about him writing an essay that's like he's the customers getting mad at that's not good enough. So yeah, like stuff like that. I have like the text like scrolling by in the background. It's just filler text. I did like stuff like that. I'll just like have ChatGPT help me just write just like fluff, like just text in the background. Um, I've had ChatGPT help me with like conceptualizing an idea. I really never have. My thoughts on it all is if it's coming up with, very similar to what you said, if it's coming up with like the original idea and it's like you're using it as like the foundation for everything, like that's not good.
It also sucks at that, by the way. It
Yeah,
also
it
sucks
does.
at doing
That's the
that.
good
But
thing right now is that it sucks. So it still keeps creators and entertainers, whatever, uh, from needing it to be natural and organic and human. Um, I, I mean, it's almost like for me the it's like paradoxical because then it's like again it circles back to what I was saying. It's like what's the point of it all if I'm not producing it, if I'm not making it, and it's like we get to a point where like we're being able to use Sora 3 or Sora 4 to just use our own cameos to make videos. It's like what are we doing? You know, it's
Yeah.
like I want to be able to make these things that I felt like I put work into. Um, we've always had tool assistants, you know, when people do like use Illustrator or Photoshop, it's like these tools like when you're drawing it like curves the lines for you procedurally to make them smoother and cleaner. And it's like I think stuff like that for the sake of innovation and efficiency, that's good. But yeah, when you're generating something completely from scratch, uh just to just slap out there, it's like yeah, there's no taste in it whatsoever. And that's where I
Yeah.
lies. Yeah. So
I
I,
have a pretty I have a pretty hot take on this.
mm-hmm.
There's a not like there's a big chance I'm just wrong, but I don't think it will ever become, especially with comedy, I don't think it will ever become good enough to write. Um, like fully front driver's seat, like start to finish,
Mm-hmm.
imagine the video and make it a really good one because I don't know, as just someone who's like writes comedy, there's no science or process or like
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of science to it. It's a lot of intuition and like gut instinct. Like the main tool I use when writing something is, do I find it funny? Did this make
Yes.
me
Yeah.
laugh? And that is like literally completely built off my experience as living as a human being with a
Mm-hmm.
conscious mind who can experience the
Yes.
world,
Yeah.
right? So it's like I don't write something that's funny because I have like baked into me like laws of, I mean, there are like a few like laws of humor, but
Mm-hmm.
it the main gauge is like, do
Yeah.
I find
Yes.
this
So like
funny and catchy?
psychologically. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you find it funny? And that I have had the exact same thought process with it where it's like, I don't know if there's ever like, is it going to understand comedic timing with cuts, even just editing, is it going to understand like comedic timing with cutting back and forth or like an awkward
that's
pause?
instinctual.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And I, so this isn't me. And this is the truth. Cause I went to school for software engineering. Like I learned a lot
Okay.
about like AI models and we like made our own from like, and this was before ChatGPT, which I'm kind of mad about because it could have helped me learn a lot easier. But I
Hmm.
also get to say, probably similar to you, like you got your degree without using crazy like AI models that
Yeah.
everyone has nowadays. I unfortunately find it inevitable that these technologies are going to be able to do whatever we want to. That's my thought. And I've heard this analogy before. Like, there's this defense that people use today. It's like, oh, AI looks terrible. It's like, oh, okay, that's a terrible claim. That can be true,
Yeah.
but don't say it like it's going to remain that way. You know what I mean? Like it's going to
Yeah. Of
progress.
course.
We've seen, I mean, my
It's Will
goodness.
Smith.
I mean, since I think ChatGPT came out around 2023, we started hearing about it. You could the Turing test of the idea of like, is this thing a human? You could easily fall if you like, tweaked it to be like very much more human. Like you would fall for it and not know you're talking to an AI model. You know what I mean? Like an AI text
Yeah.
model. Like that. We're here. We're there. Right now. There's other things like there's the video AI models. A year ago, we would say like, oh, there's no way like we could develop video models that could possibly not like we're always going to know it's an AI model. There are videos now out now, not like in the future. There's AI models out now that have generated videos that people don't realize they're AI. Like Sora 2, and it just came out. Sora 2 is already doing that. It's still pretty, when you get familiar with it, you can still see it, but you can't say that in like 3 years. We don't know where we're going to be in 3 years with these AI models. So my sucky approach to it is like whether someone likes AI models or not, likes LLMs or like these text models, these image models, these video models, whether or not they like them, it's inevitable that these things are going to keep getting better and better. You're not going to be able to there's going to be tougher things, like the video editing, the comedic timing. That is something that's very difficult to, learn. But if you're able to give a model all of these endless videos of that human nature, maybe it won't ever understand what it's like to be a human. That might take another, 100 years. I don't know. It's like, it's so tough to say, but if you're able to give it that product somehow through giving it thousands of movies and millions of short skits and all that stuff, whether or not it gets it, it's going to be able to replicate it. So I think right now it's like about, and again, this is all my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but I do see a exponential trajectory that we're going, and it's not slowing down. More and more money is getting poured into it. I see it that we are going to have to get to a point where we decide as humans whether we accept that kind of stuff or not. And I remember hearing an analogy, not an analogy, like an idea, a theory of the future where we'll be paying for organic and inorganic content, where you just like at the grocery store, you can get organic, fruits and vegetables, or you can get maybe the cheaper inorganic. But that's what it's going to boil down to is, do you want it made fully from a human, or do you want it to be AI generated? There's going to be people who don't care. There's going to be people who really care. But I certainly agree with human psychology. That is going to take a lot longer to perfect. I think we have a long time for that. I think we have some time for the comedic timing, even with editing and all that stuff. That's my food for thought, at least on the subject.
Yeah, one thing I do agree with you a lot is the idea that it's going to be driven by like the public conscious of how acceptable it is, specifically talking about entertainment and content. Yeah. I'm very optimistic that people will not accept something that is like heavily weighted on AI creation, whether it's, it wrote the damn thing or whether like a lot of the video is created by, I just don't think people can get behind that. And like a big part of the value prop of consuming content is the fact that other people have consumed it too. So it's like knowing that a bunch of people saw this movie, or knowing that a lot of people have watched this video and left off comments. So if a big majority of people don't, just out of, nature and ethics and habit, don't watch these things, that already takes a lot of value from this AI content, even if it's so good, because a lot of people reject it. So there's less. I'm articulating this so poorly, but the idea is like,
no, you're totally making a lot of sense.
We'll see, man. I don't think for influencers, content creators, I think like just the people like to know that they're watching something that like they don't want to follow and get behind a robot.
Entertainment just in general is a very human experience. Getting like, I'm just trying to compare industries where I think, people I would love, and this is something I will support. It's like, I love the idea of artificial intelligence assisting diagnoses. If it were to be like, does this person, we have let's talk about the health industry. No, we have a big like problem, specifically in the United States, like with like, we got a lot of people who need help, maybe not as many doctors. It's like something like that could efficiently help optimize the process of like, instead of your doctor telling you in a portal in 2 sentences, we're a little concerned about this little module in your kidney. Instead, like I've had this theory, and this I've told people about this. I see a future where it's like doctors will be approving pre-written AI generated responses to the patient, saying, hey, we're concerned about this. We believe, in this quadrant in your body, we want to move forward with like, this appointment for you to do this. And then the doctor approves it. It's like, yes, I fully agree with that. Send that to the patient, tell them what the plan is. So it makes everything faster, because I don't think anyone is worried about, I guess it's maybe debatable, but I know for a fact, in my opinion, like, I would rather, instead of having a doctor who's needing to rush through a patient, because we have so many patients nowadays, and rush through like, trying to diagnose this problem, I would much rather have an AI that has been given all the symptoms, all the problems, all the information, and it mathematically, statistically calculates what the most likely problem is with a patient, why they're hurting in their kidneys, or, why, just whatever reason. Like, I find that, and then again, to be approved by a human doctor at the end of it, yes, stamp of approval.
Yeah. If it saves lives, in my view, I think that ethical benefit sort of outweighs some considerations with regard to like, is it replacing a human job? In the example you said before, that's not. But even then, it's like, but it saved your life for that job.
And that's actually another. But that's a great thing you brought up about the conflict of like AI models potentially taking away jobs. And the thing I've always heard, and I don't know if I said it because this is like an example I've heard before, where farmers were protesting, back in the day when like major heavy farming equipment was coming out, protesting this is going to take our jobs. This is going to like destroy the U.S. economy, the world economy. Like how are farmers how are we going to live? And they're the ones like producing food for the world. But in the end, all it did was it gave this tool that just that made productivity skyrocket, and the farmers still are now they've just transitioned to using those tools rather than having to go out in the fields every day cutting down crops.
I would have to look at the numbers, but I think like this is totally from like my butt. I don't know the numbers, but I think I think farmers used to account for like a way bigger percentage of the U.S. workforce. I think like they didn't. I don't know. I'd have to.
Sure. Well, that, I mean, I still agree with that. Like, I think for me, in my opinion, that's because of, I mean, we see it with everything. It's like we have more people becoming engineers than farmers. That's just because that's where that's where the money is. You know what I mean? So I kind of blame that with a lot of our culture as well. Like, oh, you got to go to school. You got to become a lawyer, doctor, engineer, all these things, instead of like, blue collar, white collar jobs that people can like grow up in the ranks, which we're starting to see a shift in, but I get that. Yeah. That the huge dilemma with AI is the possibility of it taking someone's job. And ideally you hope that it would be able to assist somebody's job. That's the things I support. I support the idea of using tools that efficiently help optimize a worker's job to get more productivity done.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it, in my opinion.
I agree with you. I think it will take like people consciously deciding not to like, we will not use this in this XYZ, but at the same time, what's fueling its growth is competition between companies and competition between countries. So if there's a relative advantage of one country or one company to use it for this thing, this gives them competitive edge over someone else who's competing. Like, I don't see how the cooperation would, materialize in order to get rid of it. So.
Yeah, it's like, and that's how I look at it is, if AI, let's say if AI is inevitable, which I mean it is, there's no if about it. AI is going to keep advancing and advancing and advancing to get better and better. How can we ensure that it helps assist people rather than like taking jobs? To kind of like divert the conversation, I'd love to talk more about like just kind of some personal things, learn more about you, learn about things your audience doesn't know about you. Just in your day-to-day operations, what are things outside of content creating that you're doing in the background?
Ooh, I'm taking improv classes. That's something new with me. And that's
improv classes. Wow.
Sort of. Yeah. Okay. This is something that's sort of related more to my life and not content. I'm trying to like get out of my comfort zone because doing this for a while, it sort of isolates you because so much of the time I'm just in this garage making videos by myself, editing. And over time, it's actually made my introvert, it's made my introvertism worse.
Yeah, exact same way here. Exact same way. Yeah.
So I'm just like trying to now put myself in like more social situations or uncomfortable situations and like grow back my ability to be like a social human being.
Yeah, be normal. Yeah. That's what, to circle back, that's a hilarious example of something that I didn't expect as a content creator, because it's so funny. It's like, it's social media And like I'm telling,
Hmm.
it can be a very lonely lifestyle if you don't like manage it. I know for a fact. I mean, the thing like my job caters to me sitting in my bedroom, staying in my bedroom, not going out. I mean, there's creators that take advantage. They vlog, they meet
Hmm.
up and do collabs and stuff like that. But my core content, I think similar to yours, is like it's very like you're doing it by yourself. It's a very like solo act performance online.
You have a this might be a personal question, but you're in like a relationship, right? So
I am, yeah, yeah. It's so funny
yeah.
because I definitely value a lot like the friends and like relationships I'm in. Like I care a lot about the people I surround myself with. It's like even this like my it's so funny because like one of the things that I've tried to do to kind of like even like also like try to get out of my comfort zone and like that introverted like just being to myself, like I'm trying to like have conversations with other creators and other people through like this podcast, this
Mhm.
new medium, because I realized I was like I'm not going to have like coworkers, it's like I'm not going to have coworkers.
That's so
And I like sat down and I was like, who are my coworkers? Who's the people that like are like in the same industry as me? And like this was kind of like the approach, the way
hmm
that I can like be able to have like long conversations and still be able to like have it be a part of my job. So yeah, the
yeah,
podcast
and
has been a great tool for me.
yeah, it's hard to find creator. At least, I mean, speaking of my experience, it's hard to find creators around you who are similar enough to you that you could, one, potentially collab with them, but two,
Hmm.
just like sort of feel that you are like core
Yeah,
workers, like are
yeah.
making something in the general like same sphere of content. Because there's no like LinkedIn where you can like look up or normally you just work for a company and meet like people doing the same as you, or if you're working in like a very popular industry, go on Wall Street Oasis, and there's a million people who relate to doing this thing. But
Hmm.
when you're talking about short form skits, green screen skits.
Yeah.
It's like
It's getting
anyone.
very specific. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's
you're
like
yeah.
I don't know.
It's fun.
Yeah,
No,
so I
yeah, and this is the way you got to do it, and that's why people do collabs in the first place. It's like a way to like get to work with other people.
yeah I try to prioritize like finding people like near me,
Yeah.
just because for collabs, just because it's so much more fulfilling to me, and I think the overall video we make is better when it's like they're in person with me. We're like in
Yeah.
the same physical space, brainstorming it, acting out the parts, like, and I can also get to know that person way more.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
But the isolation is real, man.
Yeah.
I think now I'm at a like at first I didn't care about that, but over time of doing this for a while, I'm starting to see like the actual like negative side effects from that. So
Hmm.
I'm trying to like get do more social things now.
Yeah. No, I'm in full agreement, and that's my this past year for me has been a lot about it all culminates together. It's like the work to value ratio. Like I gotta make sure I'm prioritizing like what is like gonna help make the business grow in the best way possible, which then makes room for trying to do like extracurricular things, socializing, going out. Because for a long time, and you're probably in that space that I was like last year, I was like going full force. Like I'm like, I love this, I love this, I love this. I'm gonna like I'm dreaming about ideas. I'm like it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm still working. And there's a like for me, I was loving it so much, but then you start to realize you're like, wait a minute, like this is the only thing I'm doing. It's like I don't have anything else. And again, I think you could almost see it. It's like, well, like just like the growth of like, I wanted to start doing more gaming content, so I started a gaming channel. I wanted to be able to have more conversations, so I started a podcast. Like I'm trying to divert my attentions in different areas so it allows me to
Mhm.
do more with my life and fulfill more. And
Yeah.
even yeah, it's like that's the thing I've done, and I've seen because as you know, it's like a lot of creators they get burnt out and then they kind of like retire. They
Yeah.
quit or and they didn't take the business approach, so they didn't care about like growth and expanding, and then they're
Yeah.
like, oh well, I'm only getting this amount of views because I just stuck to the same thing I was doing forever.
Yeah.
And if you don't care about sponsorships or you don't care about all those things, it's like it kind of starts to at some point you're going to start to be like, oh, this is like a very repetitive, very lonesome like lifestyle. So for me,
And
I
it's
just
all
have
I
to
know
keep
how to
growing.
do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's why it's so important to try to get better. Because like even if you're
Hmm.
like picking up a new skill, you might not know why that's so useful until like a year later, where it's like you're trying to do something different, you're trying to pivot. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that thing like you spent all those hours on that one video, that tool is like not like yeah, you kind of got to be one step ahead of
Hmm.
the natural tendency is like people get bored of what you're making. If you're making the same thing for a long period of time, that becomes all you know how to make. And
Yeah.
then when you get to that point where people are bored, it's like that. Like that's the way that just scares me. That's like what
Yeah.
keeps me up at night,
Oh,
right? It's like
I've stayed aggressively away from that exact thing, like that. I don't want to get stuck doing the same thing over. I mean, when I started like on TikTok back in like 2020, like started growing my channel, I was a full gaming comedy skit channel. And like I
mhm.
was only making comedy skits about gaming culture and gaming, like just games and funny gaming related like topics. And I realized I'm like, if I don't grow out of this now, I can't do it in like 3 years because it's going to be too late. Like if I don't get out of just this specific niche now, I'm going to forever have to produce like exactly gaming related skits, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so like I diverted to a broader like comedy sketch, type genre, so I'm able to like also do gaming videos, because those still, it's kind of,
Yeah.
I've circled back where it's like I'm making gaming skits again. But yeah, maybe we can use this as like advice, like for me and like for the audience. It's like I tried to make my horizon as large as I could, so I could experiment with a bunch of different mediums and all that stuff, to be able to not get burnt out and like, end up like, gosh, like
Yeah.
end up hating it, like a lot of big artists like fall into.
Yeah. Experimentation is key.
Yeah.
And like you have to know that when you're trying something new, it you have less data to pull from. So it's like it's the opposite of that feeling like you said before. It's like I know this is gonna do well because it's about a topic that I've done 5 other times and it's gonna blow up. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I this is not even a skit or whatever. This is like something totally different. I have
Mm-hmm.
no idea. But that's how you find like maybe the next, in my view, I think that's how a pivot is created. You experiment with
Yeah.
different things with a willingness to fail at them.
Yes,
Um,
exactly. Yeah. I just did a video. I did it because I just wanted to. I did a funny video where it was like essentially a POV where you find out your lawyer is like terrible. And he's
yeah, I
like,
saw it.
yeah, and he's like, his suit is like improperly buttoned, and he's like just really
The
like just
shoelaces.
trashy. Yeah. And it's like just the realization, like, oh God, like I'm going to jail for a lifetime. And it didn't, it still did well. I'm very grateful. I'm always grateful of the views, but like in relation to other content, it underperformed. It underperformed below
Mhm.
the average. And that's a perfect example of something where I'm like, I'm not going to make a crazy theatrical drama filled video, and I want to make something like a little bit more of a mature topic. I find it funny. I think that's hilarious, and I wanted to produce it because I wanted to see what would come of that. And that's what you
Yeah.
got to do. Yeah, you have to not care about failing, because then you're just going to get stuck in that slot forever, and then it's going to come back and haunt you, and then you're not going to love what you do anymore.
It's like digging a hole at a beach, right? Like if your goal is to get like make the biggest, if your goal is to dig the deepest hole, right?
Yeah.
You'll naturally start by trying to just like make it super deep. But
Yeah.
you'll get to a point where it's like this isn't wide enough, so
Yeah.
you'll have
Yeah.
to start shaving off at the edges, and that actually makes it less deep.
Yeah.
But now you get rid of that new dirt, and you know
Yeah.
it's kind
And
of
it
that
feels
process.
slower. You're like, oh gosh, if I like, I'm not growing as fast as other people. Cause I've seen that. Like when I've diverted my content to other things, like when I went from gaming content, like gaming skit content, to just broad comedy sketches, I saw a huge plummet in viewership, for a long time. Like it took a very, very long time for me to find like a specific thing that allowed me to exit that. Um, so yeah, you just gotta experiment. I did want to. I got a couple questions left for you, and this has
Okay,
been an
cool.
awesome conversation. But I kind of just wanted to ask the very general question of like, if you had like three people, fictional, historical, alive, dead, whomever, who would you have at a dinner that you'd like want to pick their brain? Like, who comes to mind?
I think people that have inspired me, I look up to, are Churchill, Mr. Beast, and Jim Carrey.
That is the broadest. I'm not trying. I'm not. That's the craziest range. Churchill to Mr. Beast. I mean, I totally
Yeah,
get it. It's just funny to hear. But that is no, yeah, Mr. Beast. Did you say a third one? I'm sorry.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey. Yeah. Gosh, that's so. So what is it about Churchill that you
My favorite quote of all time, you can't really see it, but it's on my wall here of signs, is success is going from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. That's a Churchill quote. And like, I don't know. I really resonate with the idea of just like fighting. And when you're down, it's, about picking yourself up and continuing to do it with a smile, despite how crappy it might feel at the time. Like, I think that is where success legitimately is. That is success, is right after you fail, what you do. And I think he embodies that like mentality. Jim Carrey is just like, I don't know, something about, he feels like the most relatable, famous person of all time. He's so open about like his, I don't know, his like fights within his own mind, and like how he managed to, build this, big, character the world loves, despite like battling depression and like anxiety. And it's like, I don't know. And then Mr. Beast is, I don't know, I feel like every content creator should be inspired by Mr. Beast, because in a way, if we want to do this full time, if we want this to actually like be able to still be doing this in 15 years, he's the person setting the groundwork for that.
He's showing the capabilities of doing that. Yeah, absolutely. It's it's so funny, like, comparing like Mr. Beast and Churchill, but I totally see that, like the drive factor that like you find that passion in, and the interest in them. You see, yeah, you're definitely, it's so cool to like realize that a lot of your kind of just like motivation is like just that self drive to like produce something. And it's like, it's really, I did not realize like at the start of all this that like, that you were so even just like passionately knew about creating content and all that. Because when I see you, you look like a guy that's like had this feeling in you of producing content, making videos, just making these things, whatever we want to call them, these pieces. It looks like something you've been doing your entire life, so to hear and like realize that, it's like relatively new, it's relatively fresh, and like you've just like developed yourself into it. It's like, that's like amazing. And it's very, for one, it's very inspirational. And I think that's incredible. And I definitely see why those guys are.
I think it's more inspirational the other way around, man. I think it's like, if it's something like you, man, you've been living and breathing this shit since you're a kid. You've always wanted to do this. So it's like the fact that you were able to like stay true to that dream and find a pathway to like actually make it reality, and you're going down that. I don't know, that inspires me. The one thing I would say is like, I've always wanted to like do something like different. Like, so since a kid, my dream was like to be an entrepreneur. And I kind of, in college, I sort of like lost sight of that dream. And then just by chance after college, I found something that like stimulated that same part of me. Right. And that was content creation. And I think that, like, that's why I knew that, that's why I wanted to pursue it. So that's why I've pursued it so obsessively since I found it. It's like, it's reincarnation of that dream, I guess.
My final question is like a bit of a two-parter, where I'd love to know, where you find yourself in 5 years. Where do you want to be? What is it like? What's that image in half a decade or even a decade that you find yourself? And then with that, what are the things that, even outside of content creating, like truly at a personal level, like what do you value in life? What is it that's like the thing that makes you want to keep doing what you're doing, including content creating? What is this all about for you?
It's all about making something I'm proud of. And the bar of what that bar increases as I get better at making like the current things I'm making. So the golden question for like any creator, I think, is like, well, what is this? What does this look like in 5, 10 years? That's such a hard question to answer. And I think about it all the time. The broad answer is just something that like is a lot better than what I'm making now. I think it would take the form of like something with a more serious production process, whether it's like I'm the person arranging and directing something, or it's like I just want to be doing something that like I can look back in 5 years from now and be like, wow, this was peanuts. He's making something so great now. And that's the dream. And I don't know what form it's going to take. I'm simultaneously pursuing these like different potential routes. I'm not sure if it involves me landing a big part in, TV show or movie. That would be obviously insane, but that's super hard. I'm not sure if it's me investing a lot of time and money into creating longer form stuff and, making it by myself and posting it on YouTube. But I do know, and I'm not sure if you would relate to this, but I don't think in 5 years, I would be disappointed, I think in 5 years, if I'm still making comedy sketches. Which is hard, which puts the burden on me to like find that pivot. And that's why I think experimentation and constantly trying new things is key. You got to find the path. You're not gonna be able to imagine it from it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and I'm going to say this, like, I don't ever want to I think doing short form content is an incredible gateway into being able to do larger projects. I think just like anyone, and I'm using this as a terrible example, okay? But like Saturday Night Live, how that made a lot of it made a lot of big actors, comedians. Like I view it, people will hate to hear this, it's almost like the YouTube before YouTube. You know what I mean? It was like where like you saw these people get discovered through this hilarious like short form comedy sketch, videos on TV at the time. And I feel like that's what YouTube is. I think YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all these social medias are like the new way of getting discovered to do ideally bigger and bigger things. You're hearing content creators nowadays, they're writing a script and they sell it to, a huge blockbuster studio for $10 million and they're directing it and producing it. Fully based on a YouTube video or series that they made. It's insane, and you're hearing it more and more every day. So I think like this kind of content is like it can lead you to bigger and better things. And I'm doing the exact same thing. It's with the podcast, it's with my live gaming channel. I haven't announced it yet. This is kind of me announcing it for the first time. I've been working on like a game for like the past like 6 months, like a horror game.
I think you did announce it You definitely did.
I've talked about it in like my Discord. Nothing like crazy public.
Maybe I think that's where I've seen it.
Yeah, and so I'll probably have something like January to show, but it's been like a very like large portion of my life recently, and that's like where I see my life going is like other realms of entertainment, whether that's like, I just like you, I'm not able to say what it's going to be, but I'm trying to set myself up to be able to experiment with all those different mediums.
Yeah. First off, that's sick. I remember, I think I get email notifications for your Discord. I'm never on Discord, but I do get some. So I sometimes read the announcements they post, and that's where I read that. That's sick. I'm not sure how much you can tell me about that, but it's exactly that too, because then, you can also leverage what you've built to help, really fuel that. It would be a million times harder to promote that or push that if you didn't have an audience or people didn't already knew you.
Yeah. Your own multi-million follower marketing tool, or like multi-million view marketing. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely insane what like the new world is going to be like. I didn't want to interrupt you, but if you have any other like thoughts or like advice you want to give, for like the viewers, anyone of any ages or whomever who have an interest in content creating, entertainment, the entrepreneurial route in general, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I guess I would like to give like advice to myself when I was in college. Because man, those are the years where everyone says this, but like the world really is your oyster. There, you will have an opportunity to learn and find yourself like during that 4-year period than any other time in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And the learning is not done in the classroom. That's like going back to my college experience. I've like nothing I learned in the class actually helped me with my life or took me somewhere that I wanted to go or gave me practical knowledge to apply. Maybe that has to do with my major and the school I went to, sure. But during those 4 years, you have so much time outside of class to really find what you love.
Mm-hmm.
And I devoted none of my time to that. And I didn't even know how important that was. It's just like, how do you find something that you genuinely love? I think I lied a lot to myself that I was passionate about things that I wasn't. Maybe like, I should be interested in this type of career or this type of, thing. And I would tell myself that I am, and I would like devote time to pursuing that or looking for jobs within that route. But I wasn't. I hated it. And until I found something that like, I wasn't lying to myself, I genuinely like am obsessed in love with this thing, did that become very powerful for me. And I have no idea how you find that, but I wish in college I'd spent more time just trying new things,
experimenting,
learning about stuff, writing about it, instead of doing what I did, which is just like doing the bare minimum to get good grades. And like my extracurricular activities were all geared for getting a certain type of job that other people decided for me was the way to go and the most prestigious route, where it would just be so much smarter to use that time and freedom to find your true calling. Because after you graduate and after you're locked into a job, it becomes so much harder. And for me, constantly, who's someone who always wanted to do something unconventional or be an entrepreneur or go like down a different route, I always pushed that off. I was like, that's something you will figure that out after you get the first job and get business acumen, and then you'll like be able to decide how you then go, the entrepreneur or a different route. But I think I don't know. I think it was a lie. I think it's best to figure that stuff out earlier and try to find yourself earlier than later when you're so locked into something that
it's too late. I'm right there with you. I mean, I think it's important. I think we're entering a world where everything is a lot more self-employed. There's a lot more capabilities people have on their own, like just through the internet and being able to make their own livings through that. So I think that's like more important than ever. Man, I appreciate you coming onto the podcast. It's you're so freaking driven. I love it. It's amazing to see, because I try to have that exact same drive and like passion about what I do, and just like no matter what, I want to keep working hard and producing what I'm producing. So it's like a breath of fresh air to see that. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I really appreciate it.
It's been a blast, Jaden. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Thank you to James for coming onto the podcast. And as always, I want to finish the episode off with a Bible verse. Today we're going to be a little bit through Psalm 145:13. The Lord is faithful to all his promises, and loving toward all he has made. The Lord upholds all those who fall, and lifts up all who are bowed down. The eyes of all look to you, and you give them their food at the proper time. You open your hand and satisfy the desires of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in all his ways, and loving toward all he has made. The Lord is near to all who call to him, to all who call on him in truth. He fulfills the desires of those who fear him. He hears their cry and saves them. The Lord watches over all who love him, but all the wicked he will destroy. My mouth will speak in praise of the Lord. Let every creature praise his holy name forever and ever. See you all next time.